Hi my little Rays, it's Ray from Ray Rose Studios. And as most of you who know me know, I have ADHD and autism, which comes with the typical traits of having hyperfixations. There's just one problem. I can't have more than one hyperfixation at a time. Don't believe me? Mini story time for evidence. Ever since I was 6 years old and my eyes lay behold to this amazing TV show, I have been obsessed with TMNT 2012 edition. And when I say obsessed, I mean that little kid me was obsessed, to the point where even if you gave me a vague description of the mutant, I could tell them their full name and occupation. I was so obsessed with it that from the ages to 6 to 11, I had nothing but TMNT birthday parties. But as soon as my new hyperfixation came around, oh baby, I dropped TMNT like a hot potato. And I'm saying all of this to just show you that it takes a lot to take over my previous hyperfixation. Like, it takes a lot. And that's where this game comes in. This game is called No Straight Roads, aka NSR. NSR is a fighter style game, a rhythm based game basically because of its fighting style system, and an action adventure game. Now I'm going to try to explain this without spoiling too much. So basically, the premise of this game is that an indie punk duo, Mayday and Zook, enter a competition to be a part of the EDM empire. The EDM empire is basically the power source of the entire city, making sure the lights stay on. But there have been a lot of power outages lately. So Zook as the drummer and Mayday as the lead guitarist absolutely rock the audience socks off. And you expect them to know they don't win. They don't win because of BS reasons. And then Mayday decides that after being wrongfully disqualified because of BS reasons, after another power outage happens and the EDM empire hogs all of the backup electricity only for their concerts, and then immediately after that, Tatiana, the CEO and leader of EDM, bans the favorite music that they play. Mayday's like, this is not going to slide, and decides to do a rebellion. And now I will have to put a disclaimer here, because from this point on there will be a lot of spoilers. There will be soundtracks from the game, gameplay footage, story beats that are very significant to the plot, so you should go play the game or watch the playthroughs. Either one works, I just don't want to be the reason people get spoiled from this game. Alright? Good. Back to the video then. After I was done watching the playthrough for the 13th millionth time, I was like, I need more. So I went to YouTube, googled the name, and when I tell y'all I was flabbergasted, I was shocked with a capital OCK. I was bombastically depressed. I was super duper sad. I was bewildered when I saw that the most recent NSR content was a year old. I mean it. I was outraged. Why was such an amazing game, such a stupendous game, a perfect game even, dead? Why was the fandom freaking dead? And that was the question I asked myself for days and days and days and days on end. Why wasn't it more popular? Why did it die 3 years after its release? Because in my mind, this game hit all of the boxes for a fandom, not just to survive, but to freaking thrive. And that is what Detective Rant Ray is going to be investigating today. Was this game not given the chance to have the fandom it rightfully deserved? Or am I just biased because this is my new hyperfixation? That is the question we will be answering today. Okay, to make sure I'm not being biased at all when it comes to the fandom, I'm going to be researching on other fandoms to see what exactly made their fandom so popular and still very much flourishing to this day. This is the list. The list contains it has to look good, if it has music, it has to sound good, it needs to have lovable characters and an amazing story, a bunch of lore and interesting character dynamics, shipping potential, leaving you wanting more, and creators that love their fans sincerely. So with this information at hand, let's start with number 1. Looks good. To say that this art style just looks good would be an absolute understatement. First of all, it is an absolute pop of color. From Mayday's yellow skin to Zook's green skin to the absolute barrage of colors in each and every boss battle, it's just absolutely vibrating with colors. When it comes to expressing emotions, it is both vibrant in both body and facial expressions as seen here. And the character designs are so unique, expressive, colorful, and vibrant that you can make art of it in any sort of style that you want and put it into Google Images, and Google would know exactly who you're talking about. In short, this art is amazing and beautiful and deserves the utmost of praise. 1 check mark completed. And before y'all go and say, well duh Ray, this whole game's mechanic revolves around music. I sure hope the music sounds good. And yeah, if the entire game's mechanic is revolved around music, then of course it has to have good music. But this is a different type of good music. This game has the type of music that every time you listen to one of their bops, you get into that specific type of genre. What's that? You think generic cheesy boy bands are absolutely cringe? Well, too bad, because you're gonna be listening to the 1010 soundtrack on rewind. What? You don't get the big hype about the digital singer that is Miku? Well, you're gonna understand once you listen to Seizu's boss battle. What? You think there's no type of good rap? Well, you're gonna be eating those words once you play the DK West mini boss battle. And if you still don't believe me, listen for yourself.
What I battled for, then I caught my way back from the border war. How could you know what the people need? I will take you down, so surrender now.
Even the music with literally no lyrics have you out here dancing as if it's 1999 in a disco party. So yeah, check mark, it sounds absolutely amazing. I have a lot to say on each and every single character, but to make sure that this review doesn't turn out to be a 2-hour long review, I'm just gonna do what that one guy did to the Steven Universe characters, and just list off the things that I do and do not like about them. Mayday, I love you. From your hair, from your clothes, from your eyes, from your everything. Your personality is amazing. I love that you learned your lesson in the end. But you're a little bit too much to be my friend, just saying. 8 out of 10. Zook, the man, the maestro, the epitome of I drink respect women juice is here, ladies and gentlemen. From his character design, from his personality, all the way to his entire backstory, this man is perfect. The only thing, and I mean the only thing, that I dislike about this character's storyline, yes, storyline, because his character and personality is perfect, is that he had to apologize to Eve and West first. I'm sorry, but in most of those situations, y'all did it to yourselves. 9.9 out of 10. Yoon, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. you didn't really do much for me, not gonna lie, but you do have a cute design. You also put Mayday in her place when her head got a little bit too big, so I'm gonna give you a 6 out of 10. Never have I been both annoyed but also related to a character so much in my entire life. Like, I get it, I also have trouble connecting with people and feel like I'm alone sometimes, but girl, you did not need to treat Mayday like that. You did not need to do that. You also set Zook's hair on fire without apologizing, which isn't very cash money of you, so 4.8 out of 10. 4.8 out of 10. I love how she teases Mayday and Zook, and I also love her character design, so 8 out of 10. Tatiana, baby girl, you literally are my favorite character. You literally make the funniest scenes in the entire NSR game, but you did not need to do all that to Mayday and Zook. You did not need to go overboard and slander their profession and their names that badly. You did not need to do all that. And you most certainly did not need to ban all rock music just because your band dispersed. I'm gonna need to take several steps back, babe. 7 out of 10. Great character, but you did too much in the beginning. Wow, congratulations, DJSS. You are the very first egotist that I actually enjoy looking at and or watching. Here's a gold star for your efforts and a 9 out of 10. I hate Cliff. Used to like the guy, now I hate him with all my passion. 1 out of 10. He's dramatic for the sake of being dramatic. That's all that needs to be said about him. 6 out of 10. I don't know why, but I just prefer Rune. I don't really understand why. I think all the characters look nice, but Rune is just the one that I am manufacturedly drawn to for some reason. So that, it's an 8 out of 10. Controversial take. I do not like this man. I do not like most of his behavior. Trust me, there will be a whole section about this man. There will be paragraphs about how much I do not like this man's behavior. 6 out of 10. What can I really say? She's an overprotective mother that loves her child very much and just wants to see her grow up as a star, even though she can sometimes go a little overboard, but she doesn't really do much for me, so she's a 5 out of 10 at the best. Okay, now that I got all the general characters out of the way, I am going to go on rants about my favorite characters, their highlights, and their downfalls. If you don't want to hear any of that, you can skip to this timestamp. But with that out of the way, let me get on to the ranting. First of all, let's just talk about how this man just screams perfect man, perfect husband in every single way, shape, and form. First of all, he just looks good. I mean, look at this man. He has a deep voice. His face looks like he's a caring father 24/7. He has those beautiful ruby red eyes. He's kind and compassionate. This man screams, I cook at a Gordon Ramsay level and no one can outdo me. He graduated college with a mastery in fine arts, so he's very talented and could make some good money. And overall, he's just always the bigger person. Don't believe me? Mayday does something dumb and stupid. Zook gets mad and he's the first to apologize. Eve traps him in an alternate realm and then sets his hair on fire without apologizing. And then years later, he's the first one to apologize for how the relationship ended. He, after meeting West and hearing his side of the story, apologizes multiple times in the second rap battle. And then after getting mad at him and saying, you know what, forget you, I disown you, he then in the next rap battle, after hearing West's side of the story again, apologizes while singing his praise. Like when I tell y'all I would pay the absolute highest bidder for Zook just to go, you know what? I'm not going to apologize first. They'll have to apologize first. I'm not doing it. I mean that. An absolutely perfect man across all the boards. And I'm real disappointed that none of y'all were able to get this man into that Tumblr tournament. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. Okay, I want to get the positives out the way because despite what I am about to say after these positives, I genuinely don't think that DK West is a horrible person. It's just that the things he does makes me enraged to the point where I don't even know why I'm upset. So with that out of the way, let's get into the positive. This man gives great hugs. He looks like he gives phenomenal hugs. His hugs look like they could cure both depression and anxiety in one fell swoop. Despite everything I feel about this man, the end of the apology of Rap Battle 3 did make my heart swell, so I will give him that. I have obsessed over many things in my life. My Little Pony, SpongeBob SquarePants, unicorns, science, every TV show you could possibly think was popular when I was a kid. But I can never say truly that I have obsessed over a culture. Until now. Thank DK West for that, everyone. I am now obsessed with everything and anything Malaysia. And now that I'm done with the praise, let me get on you, DK West, because how in the world are you this sucky but this amazing at the same dang time? I have a whole list of reasons why I don't like you, DK West. Why don't we go over them together, shall we? Okay, here is the list. Let's go through it together, shall we? There's call Zook clingy, call Zook a crybaby, call Zook clueless, invalidates his emotion and makes fun of those emotions, blames Zook for his lack of friends, calls Zook fake, says Zook is nothing but his shadow, says Zook should be lucky that they're even related, calls Zook a bad person, calls Zook a copycat, insults his music, blames his brother for the fact he couldn't get the girl that he wanted, instead they chose his little brother. The entire line, stealer of friends, copycat Zook, you ain't nothing without West, you ain't nothing without West, you ain't nothing without West. Made fun of the time his brother was so sad that he had to cry on the toilet, blames Zook for the fact that he didn't get into college, calls his brother a bad person for the second time in a row, and basically calls him a tyrant, says Zook is jealous of him, says that Zook only wanted to be president to get back at West, sold this man's drum set, forgot his birthday. Side note, he gave Tatiana, a stranger who hates his guts, a horn of mending, but not his brother, who actively wanted to fix the relationship. Blames Zook for their now broken relationship, breaks all laws of human decency, and plays an old embarrassing tape. Which, side note, this man promised not to do that and never show it to anyone. Only for us to find out with Zook that he's been doing this for years, ever since they were kids, and embarrassing Zook behind his back. And now he's trying to do it all over again? That's messed up for real. Tries to humiliate Zook in front of his best friend, projects his issues onto Zook, and this is the real kicker, ladies and gentlemen. Can't forgive all the bad vibes towards me. Bad vibes? Bad vibes, sir. You were the one who said that Zook worshipped you and was clingy. Your words. Your words. Your point of view. Oh, but now that you have the support of his best friend, now he was mean to you, now he hated you, now he was a jerk to you. Screw off. First of all, let's talk about the stealer of friends, copycat Zook. What copycat, West? He's doing his complete own thing. You may have inspired it, but he made an original thing. Do you mean when he decided to join music? Cause I'm sorry to break it to you, baby boy, but that's not how it works. You do not monopolize on the getting into music category. That is not yours to dictate. And as for the stealer of friends thing, they left you, West. They left you. They saw that your brother, when he got out of his shell, was popular and left you. Zook didn't even become friends with any of your fake friends. He literally didn't take a relationship up with any of them. All he did was exist and not be depressed, and you're angry. Why? Why, West? And as for the, you stole the girl that you knew I like. Dude, she doesn't like you in the slightest format. When Tatiana said that they had to call you for help, Eve goes, nah, please, I beg you, don't do that. She does it anyway, and the second you speak to her, she leaves. You utter one sentence, you say one thing to her, and she up and leaves, runs away from you. Sonic Dash spins away from you as fast as she can possibly do it. And Eve has always been brutally honest, so it's not like this is some new occurrence of behavior. And no one can use the excuse, well, if my boyfriend's brother was around, I would try to avoid them as well. Because there are multiple times in the Bunk Band Junction versus Eve fight scene where she tries to get back with Zook multiple times and tries to literally get him to sit on her. So it's not like she doesn't want to be around the West family in general. It's just him. Like, no, DK West, it is not your little brother's fault that you have the IQ and social awareness of a fruit fly. Like, literally, Eve calls you gross in earshot of you. And you seem to acknowledge the comment as well. So I really don't know where you get off blaming your horrible relationship and love life on your brother. Like, blaming your brother for the fact that you got no game is absolutely crazy. Like, seriously, there are so many reasons not to like this guy. And the absolute worst part of it is, this man has me going on an emotional roller coaster every time he's on screen. And I'm being so serious when I say that. The first time I saw him on screen, I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for whatever boss fight he's gonna give us. Then the moment I found out he was Duke's brother and he opened his mouth, I was all like... Like, seriously, my feelings for this man is so complex that one second I will be wanting to have a whole conversation that will last hours with this man. Then the next second I will want to beat my head up against a tree because his voice makes me want to die. And if you don't believe me, here is real-time footage of how the fight ended and how I felt exactly in each individual millisecond. I cannot believe this is how it's going to end. I cannot believe it's going to end with Zook practically kissing his behind and bragging about him. I cannot believe this. This is an absolute travesty upon all things good in the world.
Kau betul ikhlas ke, bro? Kau masih respect ke aku?
Yes, you albino burrito. Thank you for finally catching on. Thank you for finally getting the clue.
Jadi, macam mana kalau...
How about a truce?
And there my man go again. There he goes again, being the bigger person and apologizing first. Here we go again. Honestly, I'm glad this man's leaving. He is too much for me. He just be doing too much. And this is so precious. I love this so much. You know, I think I'm finally starting to understand why I hate this so much. It's not the fact that it's West that I hate. It's how the situation panned out that I hate. And I think this Reddit post by this user right here perfectly sums up how I feel to the exact point. I feel like the game just has an impeccable need to make us feel like Zook was 100% in the wrong. Yes. Was he wrong for being so mean? Yes. Was he harsh? Yes. Was it unwarranted? In my humble little opinion, yes. From the moment this man's on screen, he shows a blatant side of hypocrisy. He'll demand that Zook stop blaming him for things that are clear as day his fault. But the millisecond this man gets the chance, he blames Zook for things that couldn't possibly be his fault. And he constantly bullies Zook for being sad in high school. And I don't just mean sad. I mean like so sad that he is definitely depression coded. I swear, if the creators of NSR ever come out of the woodwork and canonically say, yeah, Zook was depressed in high school, I'm gonna hate DK West just a little bit more if I'm being honest. Because it's already bad enough that you're making fun of your brother for being sad and bringing up stuff just to embarrass him. But if it turns out you were also making fun of him for being depressed, he's gonna have to see me outside. He's gonna have to come out the TV and see me. And to any of you DK West stans that are going to say, do you want them to beat him up or something? No. I do not want him to be punished for the rest of his life because he did seem genuinely sorry. All I'm saying is that he probably should have felt bad for a wee bit longer, you know? Like, we see him be sad for like one cutscene and then he's right back to being a douchebag. And you know what I see when I see someone feel bad for a few seconds and then immediately repeating the behavior that got them in that predicament in the first place? I, A, see someone who's too lazy to make a commitment to be a better person, or I, B, see someone who's trying to use their emotions as a manipulation tactic. I'm sorry, but that's all I see. How else can you explain DK West's sudden shift from, oh my god, my brother disowned me, I'm so miserable, wah, to, like, come on, how am I supposed to feel bad for the guy when he doesn't even seem mad or sad about it anymore? So, to finally end this long love-hate DK West rant, DK West, do better, stop being a jerk to Zook. I hope your relationship gets better, and developers of the game, if you ever, by the sliver of chances, see this video and you're planning on making an NSR2 sequel, please, for the love of God, make there be a DK West and Zook mini side quest. I don't care what it is, I just want there to be one. So with that long ramble finally out of the way, let's check off likable characters on our list. Okay, this question's pretty easy, but of course it leaves you wanting more. It leaves you wanting more character-wise, relationships-wise, world-building-wise, especially lore-building-wise. The city is made so absolutely perfectly that it's big enough to give us a grasp of what this world is like, but also leaves us wanting to know what's outside of Vinyl City. Like, just imagine. Is Vinyl City the only city that runs on music-based energy? Are all other countries/cities like Vinyl City where they represent all sorts of music? Or is it like music-based countries and stuff? I guess we'll never know unless the NSR creators make an NSR2 sequel, hint hint, cough cough. But yes, in my humble little opinion, NSR can leave you wanting more, even with all its bugs. Now, for a majority of this video sections, they've been pretty long and pretty elaborate, but I really don't think I really need to explain this part. It is called No Straight Roads for a reason, after all. I swear to you all, there are only 2 straight ships in this entire fandom, Mayday and Zook and Eve. I haven't seen not one other straight ship in this fandom. Like, seriously, the shipping possibilities are endless here. You can ship Zook with one of the 1010 members, you can ship Mayday with DK West, you can ship Eve with Tatiana. It just goes on forever and ever. So I think it's pretty safe to say that both shipping possibilities and interesting character dynamics go hand in hand and can be checked off this list. I'm not joking with you guys when I say the questions I have about this world's magic system makes me feel like MatPat sometimes. I swear I feel that way. Like, for example, I thought that everyone in this world needed some sort of instrument or device to control their magic. For example, Mayday needs her guitar, Zook needs his drumsticks, DJ SS needs his DJ stand, and Seizu needs all of her employees to make sure she functions. So that was the preconceptus. That is what I thought in my head. But no, then DK West 1010 and Eve decided they wanted to throw off all of my continuity. So then I just thought, oh, well, maybe this is a situation that everyone has the ability to do this in this world. But that just raised even more questions. Like, are they all born with a specific type of music genre embedded inside of them? And if that's the case, do they get to change it later on, or are they just like out of luck when it comes to that category? And that's not even talking about the major power imbalance. Like, why in the world can Zook only make holographic drum sets, meanwhile DK West can make an entire shadow creature? Like, seriously, what defines the power level within this universe? Is it the magic? Is it the popularity of the music genre? What in the world is it? Now, does this magic system's information have anything to do with the general plot? No. Do I still want to know everything and anything about this magic system? Yes. Yes, I very much do. I want to know why, but especially how, an independent underground rock band was able to produce the same amount of music energy as a multi-million-dollar company with 5 separate artists. Speaking of which, can we all talk about how the game kinda glazes over that? Like, can we talk about how Tatiana really thought she ate when it was proven that Mayday was wrong? Because yes, Mayday and Zook were wrong about rock being more powerful than EDM, but they were still able to knock all of your artists on their behinds and then create the same amount of music energy as all of them combined. Because we all need to remember that NSR is a company with access to booking halls, venues, concerts, a whole yacht. They own sections of the city. No, they do own the city. NSR and its artists have all the resources that they need to succeed. Mayday and Zook, meanwhile, they're hanging out and performing in their home, which is the sewers. And the only form of advertisement these guys get is from that one podcast NPC that I can't remember the name of. And I just feel like this game glosses over something that in-game should be a very big deal. Like an independent artist duo beating an entire company in music energy power. That should be like the biggest deal besides the satellite. But in shorter words, yeah, this game's lore has me questioning all of my life experiences, and I definitely think this deserves a check mark. NSR is a game about an indie punk duo who get wrongfully disqualified from a competition that would have determined their next big breakthrough. And once they realize that the company wrongfully disqualified them and is hogging all the backup energy, they both decide to try to take NSR down, ending up becoming almost as bad as the thing they were fighting against. And honestly, it's an amazing plot. They did a really good job in making sure that every situation where it was person against person, that it wasn't completely black and white. Everything had a shade of gray to it. But it also does an amazing job at making sure we stay in the mindset of the main characters for every story beat. When Mayday and Zook feel like amazing crime-fighting vigilantes, we feel like crime-fighting vigilantes. But the moment the game pours a little sprinkle of doubt that maybe, just maybe, we're doing something wrong, we also feel like we're doing something wrong as well, which I think is an amazing accomplishment. Because the creators could have easily went down on the lazy and easy pathway of just making every single character, NPC, and boss that Mayday and Zook came across hate exactly what they're doing and despise them for it. But instead, the creators decided to go for a more human response. Some people love what they're doing, some people hate what they're doing, some people are downright terrified of what they're doing, and some people are just neutral. And hey, that is a very human reaction when it comes to a revolution of any sort. And let's also talk about how they make an excellent job out of making sure each character against character problem is sympathetic on both sides. You feel mad at Tatiana for wrongfully disqualifying the main characters because of her own petty biases, but you also can't be too mad at her because she's just trying to do what's right for the city. We want to shout at E for being emotionally abusive, but after learning about all the things she's been through and how heartbroken she was about Zook leaving her on read, You can't help but feel a little bit sympathetic for her. It's kind of hard to be mad at someone you know is going through it at the time. And even, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, even DK Flippin' West is somewhat sympathetic in this game. Yes, he's a jerk, he's an absolutely horrible bully, and he definitely isn't winning Brother of the Year award with how he behaves. But even though his reasons for being a jerk are illogical and rude and nonsensical, it's kind of hard to feel mad at him for long periods of time, especially when you consider the fact that if it happened to you, you would be upset too. Maybe not upset enough to leave your brother in the rink when he's depressed, but I digress. Like seriously, in my opinion, the only non-sympatheticable person in this entire game would have to be Cliff. You know, the guy that was literally willing to cause mass destruction towards an actively populated building because his idol from, 30-20 years ago didn't consider his feelings when dispersing her band. Yeah, in my opinion, I can never sympathize with that little Reddit-dwelling basement dweller. But I digress. This game is amazing, the story is amazing, everything is amazing, and there it is, its final check. But then that leaves me with one final question. Why isn't this fandom more popular? Honestly, the world may never know. But what I do know is I will fight tooth and nail to bring it back to life, even if it kills me.